This whole stock market right now is being propped up by AI, and AI is being propped up by your insurance.
Now, South Korea's stock market has witnessed one of its sharpest reversals in recent history.
If you have any money in the stock market or if you've ever used AI, you're going to want to hear this.
Imagine watching your life savings disappear in a single afternoon. Not a hack, not a glitch. The machine did exactly what it was built to do. Every bubble runs on the same clock, airships, railroads. And right now, that clock is ticking again, wearing a different mask. A 25-year-old just lost $35 billion in days. An entire country's stock market triggered 7 emergency shutdowns in one morning. And Nvidia just borrowed $500 billion to build data centers it doesn't even own. This isn't a prediction. This is the bubble popping right now. Let's start in South Korea, because what happened there is the clearest warning sign the entire AI industry has seen so far. For years, South Korea was known as a manufacturing powerhouse, but by early 2026, its entire financial system had become obsessed with one thing: artificial intelligence. Every AI model in the world needs massive computing power, and that power depends on high bandwidth memory chips. One company, SK Hynix, controls roughly half of that global market, alongside Samsung. So when the AI hype accelerated, trillions of Korean won flooded into exactly 2 stocks. By June 2026, those 2 companies made up half of the entire Korean stock exchange. Think about that. Imagine if 2 tech companies controlled half of the S&P 500. There was no diversification left. The index itself had quietly become a leveraged bet on AI. And the people piling in weren't hedge funds. They were young Koreans in their 20s and 30s, locked out of an impossible housing market and a brutal job market, looking at the stock exchange as their only way out. In May 2026, the government made it worse. To keep domestic money from flowing into American tech stocks, regulators approved leveraged single stock funds, promising to double the daily gains on companies like Samsung. Retail traders maxed out credit lines to get in. Margin debt hit an all-time record of 30 trillion won. Then 2 things happened almost back to back. First, SpaceX's massive IPO pulled foreign capital out of Korea, as global investors sold Korean tech to fund their allocation. Then, on July 10th, SK Hynix listed directly on the NASDAQ, raising over $26 billion. That sounds like a win, but it meant American investors no longer needed to trade through Seoul at all. Capital that used to flow into the Kospi index started rotating straight into the NASDAQ instead. Here's the part that actually broke the market. Those leveraged funds don't borrow money to buy more shares. They make daily bets with global banks, and by contract, they have to rebalance every single day to stay on target. When the underlying stock drops even a little, the fund is mechanically forced to sell shares to stay balanced, not because anyone believes the business is worth less, because the math demands it. By early July, one SK Hynix leveraged fund alone had grown to $13 billion, the largest of its kind in the world. It got so big that its own daily rebalancing started moving the market more than actual business news did. On the morning of July 13th, that mechanism turned into a death spiral. Prices dipped, the funds sold. That selling pushed prices lower, which forced more selling. Banks started demanding their borrowed money back, and young investors who had already spent it had nothing to give back. Their accounts were seized and liquidated automatically. 7 separate circuit breakers tripped that week. Trading was halted more than once. By the time the dust settled, over 300,000 retail accounts had been completely wiped out. 60% of the people who lost everything were under the age of 30. That's not a metaphor. That's what an AI bubble actually looks like when it pops in real time. And South Korea wasn't an isolated accident. It was the canary in the coal mine, because the exact same concentration risk exists in the United States right now, just spread across a handful of different names. Take Leopold Aschenbrenner. He's 25 years old, and he built one of the most talked about hedge funds in Silicon Valley around a single thesis: that AI progress would keep accelerating without limit. His fund, built on concentrated leveraged bets in AI infrastructure stocks, peaked at $45 billion in assets. Within days, it collapsed to around $10 billion. $35 billion evaporated because the leverage he used amplified the losses just as fast as it had amplified the gains. And here's the unsettling part. 2 weeks later, investors were still lining up to give him more money. That's not confidence. That's denial with a checkbook.
Then there's the one that should worry every single person watching this video. On August 10th, Nvidia announced it was raising $500 billion in partnership with Apollo, BlackRock, Blackstone, Brookfield, Goldman Sachs, and KKR to build data centers for its own customers. Read that sentence again. Nvidia is helping finance the construction of the exact data centers that will be filled with Nvidia's own chips, using outside debt, not Nvidia's own cash. The hardware itself is being used as the collateral. Financial analysts have already started calling this circular financing, and if that structure sounds familiar, it should. It's strikingly similar to how mortgage-backed securities were built right before the 2008 financial crisis. Assets used as collateral to borrow money to buy more of the same assets. If Nvidia's own customers need $500 billion in borrowed money just to keep buying Nvidia's chips, ask yourself who is actually generating the revenue here, and who is just moving debt around in a circle. Meanwhile, the market has already started pricing in the fear. SpaceX, one of the biggest poster children of the AI infrastructure boom, hit an all-time high of $225 in June. By August 5th, it had fallen over 50%, including a single-day drop of 13.6%. This is a company at the center of the AI capital expenditure story, and it's the one getting hit the hardest. So how much money are we actually talking about? In 2026 alone, the biggest tech companies are expected to spend $725 billion on AI infrastructure. Microsoft alone plans to spend around $190 billion. Nvidia's data center revenue hit $75.2 billion in a single quarter, up 92% from the year before. Journalist Ed Zitron, who has been tracking this bubble closely, put it in one simple sentence. The moment hyperscalers stop spending on capital expenditure, the entire AI trade collapses. And that spending is increasingly being funded not by profit, but by debt, private credit, and exactly the kind of circular financing Nvidia just built with Wall Street. Even the drama around the industry is starting to shift from ambition to desperation. For most of this year, the big legal fight in AI was Elon Musk's lawsuit against OpenAI, and that story is basically over. A judge dismissed his trade secret claims in June, and a jury ruled against his broader case in May. But a new lawsuit just replaced it. In July, Apple sued OpenAI over trade secret theft, specifically targeting OpenAI's push into consumer hardware. When one of the most valuable companies on Earth is suing the biggest AI lab in the world over hardware ambitions, that's not a sign of an industry confidently building the future. That's a sign of companies fighting over scraps as the easy money starts drying up. Now, to be fair, not every technology bubble ends in disaster. Railroads wiped out investors across Britain in the 1800s and grew 3 times larger a few decades later. The early internet crashed in 2001, and the fiber cables laid during that bubble became the backbone of the internet we use today. So bubbles bursting doesn't always mean the technology was fake. Sometimes it just means the timeline was wrong, and the wrong people were holding the bag when reality caught up. But here's the difference this time. Airships and the Concorde had a capability problem. They simply never got good enough to justify the investment. AI doesn't have that problem. It keeps getting better, sometimes faster than anyone expected. The real question is profitability and adoption. And right now, both of those clocks are moving a lot slower than the money flowing in assumes. Microsoft has already told thousands of its own engineers to stop using expensive AI coding tools and switch to cheaper alternatives. Uber burned through its entire 2026 AI budget in 4 months. OpenAI is reportedly losing more than $2 for every dollar it brings in. These are the companies that are supposed to prove AI pays for itself, and even they're struggling to make the math work. There's also a deeper problem sitting underneath all of this, and it has nothing to do with charts or circuit breakers. It's about who's actually making money from AI right now versus who's just spending on the promise of it. Anthropic reportedly came close to its first ever quarterly operating profit this year, somewhere around $500 million. On paper, that sounds like proof the technology finally works economically. But that number excludes stock-based compensation, and it landed in a quarter before some of the company's biggest computing costs had even kicked in. Even Anthropic itself has said it may not stay profitable for the rest of the year. OpenAI's situation is worse. The company is burning billions of dollars annually, and it has committed to spending over $1 trillion on future infrastructure, while its own internal projections don't expect positive cash flow until 2030. That's not a rounding error. That's an entire industry betting the next 4 years on assumptions that haven't been proven yet. And it's not just American money at risk anymore. Chinese AI labs and open source models are closing the capability gap fast, and they're doing it at a fraction of the cost. That's about to trigger a pricing war that squeezes margins from every direction, right as companies like OpenAI need those margins the most just to justify their spending. Now, compare that to what happened with railroads or the early internet. Those bubbles burst because investors got impatient, not because the underlying technology was broken. The tracks were still there. The fiber cables were still in the ground. When adoption finally caught up years later, the infrastructure was already built, and the survivors made fortunes. AI's infrastructure story looks similar on the surface. Gigawatts of data centers, trillions in chips, a supply chain that isn't going anywhere. But there's one critical difference nobody's talking about enough. Railroad tracks don't become obsolete in 18 months. A cutting-edge AI chip does. Nvidia's most advanced hardware today will be replaced by something faster and more efficient within 2 or 3 product cycles. That means the collateral behind all this circular financing isn't a permanent asset like land or steel rail. It's a depreciating one, racing against its own replacement. So when you put it all together, a 25-year-old losing $35 billion in days, an entire country's stock market getting mechanically dismantled by leveraged funds, Nvidia borrowing $500 billion against hardware that depreciates faster than the debt used to build it, and the biggest AI spenders quietly pulling back behind the scenes. This isn't paranoia. This is a pattern. And patterns like this only end one way. The question was never whether AI is real. It clearly is. The question is whether the people currently funding it are going to be the ones who actually benefit from it, or the ones left holding the bag when the clock finally runs out. Because South Korea already answered that question once this year, and nobody in Silicon Valley seems to be listening.